Choosing a lender. Of course, this is one that is near and dear to our hearts. But as you've watched this video, we hope you've come away realizing that buying a home and getting a mortgage is a huge financial endeavor. There's a tremendous amount of your wealth that's on the table here, and the movement of this wealth is challenging entire industries. With that in mind, as a certified mortgage planning specialist, I'm constantly learning new skills to support you. And as an investor, you need to learn new skills for the protection and management of the wealth that is normally inside your house. As a certified mortgage planning specialist, I've had to develop these skills on such as selecting the proper structure of debt, as well as the best loan products for my clients. And the structure and loan products we use typically meet safety, liquidity, and return criteria based on the suitability for you, the client. With this new financial paradigm, your mortgage provider needs to be more than just a mortgage provider. They need to be more of a liability manager, just like you would have a financial pro advising you on your investments and assets. Since so much of what we do now involves debt, you've got to have an expert on your team in managing liabilities too. So as you can see, choosing your lender is paramount in today's marketplace. There are too many unethical lenders that will tell you what you want to hear to get you in the door and then change up things on you either during the process or worse, at the closing table. Think about it. If you are at the closing table, it's too late for you to do anything. You've got the moving vans backed up to the house. If you had a house, it's sold. If you had an apartment, you've given notice. So you're going to have to sign, and you can get mad. You can get mad all that you want, but you'll end up signing the papers. I know you will, because I've seen it happen, time and time again. This practice is prevalent in the industry, and unfortunately, I doubt it's going to go away anytime soon. So you have to make sure you find someone that you can trust. One of the things we do to help ease those fears is to offer you a closing cost guarantee. Once we've locked your loan in with an investor, locked that rate in with an investor, we will give you an updated good faith estimate in Truth in Lending, and if our closing costs are more than $50 higher than what we quoted you, we'll pay that amount over the $50. I don't know of any other lender making that offer. The biggest thing you were ever told to look out for when it comes to mortgages has always been the interest rate. And you know what? Lenders know this, and they play on it huge. They offer ridiculously low rates that they can't deliver, or it'll cost you thousands of dollars to get that low rate. They offer you low rates, and they don't disclose how the program works, and they may make it sound like a 30-year fixed rate loan when in fact it's a monthly adjustable, that if you make the low payment they quote you, your principal balance will actually go up. It's really too bad the powers that be don't really enforce the current rules and regulations, so you as the consumer, you've got to be aware of these practices. If it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is. Another reason we say don't just work with someone that offers the lowest rate is that we show our clients that in the order of importance, interest rates is probably barely in the top 10. There are many more important factors in what type of financing you eventually get other than rate, but that's a whole different video. Just be very careful out there. And if you are going to focus on rates, don't try and hit the bottom of the rate market. This works about as well as investing strategies that show you how to buy at the bottom of the market and sell at the top. It's pure luck to accomplishment. Heck, Warren Buffett can't even do it. Your lender needs to understand the market and the direction of the market in the time frame you're looking at. Now remember, nobody really knows what the market's going to do, but there are ways to more accurately estimate it. We subscribe to a service that gives us current market updates and helps us in estimating in what the market will be doing in the short term and over the long term. We have our hands on the pulse of the market. Closing costs. When you buy a home, you've got to be prepared for closing costs. Now, closing costs are the costs that are involved with getting a loan, and they'll include legitimate third-party fees like appraisals, credit reports, title insurance, closing fees, recording fees. There are also what are called junk fees, and they can be called just about anything the lender wants. See, lenders have realized that you are so focused on rates that if they give you a lower rate but jump up the fees, then you'll probably not realize those fees and just be happy with a lower rate. You need to make sure you compare the closing costs and the interest rates, not just one or the other. This is where a lot of the low rate guys will get you. Now, there are also prepaid expenses when you buy a house, and these are costs that you encounter because you're going to own a house. These include paying your homeowner's insurance. Usually they pay an annual premium up front, and then they have about 2 extra months of that goes into an escrow account with 2 months of your property taxes. Now, these escrow accounts are normally held by the lender, and that's to help you to pay your taxes and insurance when they come due the next year. There's also another upfront expense that is dependent on what day of the month that you close. There's a daily interest factor, and that you're going to pay each day in the month that you have the money borrowed. So if you close on the last day of the month, you'd pay 1 day of interest. If you closed with 10 days left, you would pay 10 days. It would then make sense to close the last day of the month, except that's when everyone's trying to do it. So you may not be able to or get in or be able to get a convenient time. And if there's something that were to go wrong with the loan, you don't have any time before the end of the month to correct it. Keep that in mind. Now, prepaid expenses are pretty much going to be the same across the board. They're pretty highly regulated on how those are figured out. So that's not really a bone of contention, except for if someone's charging you points. A point is 1% of the loan amount, because a point is considered a prepaid expense. But it's normally up under the closing costs is where that is listed on the good faith estimate, and then also on the settlement statement. So keep in mind that it's not always rate. It's a combination of rate and closing costs. So you want to keep an eye on that. All right, what makes up your house payment? I know this is pretty basic, but for first-time home buyers, they may not know what all makes up their monthly house payment. The main part of your house payment is going to be principal and interest, unless you happen to have an interest-only loan. But principal and interest is what your mortgage payment is made up of. So the first part of your payment is principal and interest. Now, depending on how you structure it, but normally when you put less than 20% down, you're going to have a private mortgage insurance. That is, we call it PMI. If that's necessary, that is part of your payment. And let me back up for just a minute. Instead of PMI, if you decided that you wanted to do a first mortgage and second mortgage combination, then you would have 2 principal and interest payments, one for the first mortgage and one for the second mortgage. Second mortgage would be just the principal and interest or interest only payment. It won't have this other stuff, but your main house payment is going to have the principal and interest, PMI if it's necessary, and then they're going to take 1/12 of your property taxes. So if your property taxes were $100 a month or $1,200 a year, they would take $100 and add that to your payment. And that way you're putting 1/12 of that in each month into an escrow account, and that way the lender will have money to pay your property taxes when they come due. They will also do that with your homeowner's insurance. They will take 1/12 of that and add that into the payment, and that will be what you will send to your mortgage company.